including the inspiring story of Barb. She lost her arms when she was 2, but that didn't stop her from accomplishing more than most people ever will.
Don't go away. That's coming up right now on Montell.
Barb Guerra was a happy, healthy little girl, and growing up in Texas, her childhood was pretty typical. But when she was only 2.5 years old, an accident changed the course of her life.
I was outside playing. There was a transformer box there. The door was open, and I used the wires to climb up. And the electricity went in through my hands. I don't remember anything that happened.
A vicious jolt of electricity traveled through the exposed wires, burning her hands and her arms so badly, doctors were left with only one choice: amputation at both shoulders. Not surprisingly, Barb's unique situation made it very tough growing up.
A therapist told my parents one time that the hardest thing they'll ever have to do is to sit on their hands and make me do things myself. There was times when my mom said, "You go in your room and you get yourself dressed and you do not come out until you're dressed." And she went out in the living room and cried. And she said 15 minutes later, I came out and I was dressed.
Growing older, Barb began developing a sense of self-confidence, even trying out for school activities like the swim team. But having people treat her like a normal teenager was almost impossible. Even though she knew she was physically able to handle a car, just trying to get her license turned into a humiliating slap in the face.
None of the driver education places wanted to teach me. And finally, my mom went to one and told them they needed to put it in writing why they wouldn't teach me. And finally, one place agreed to teach me.
After finishing school, Barb continued fighting stereotypes. Later, she earned her certification as an aerobics instructor. But Barb's life would really change when she met Mark.
My first thought of Barbara when I saw her without arms was, she's very beautiful. She impresses me just with her personality, her beauty, and just the way she carries herself.
The two got married, and like a lot of young couples, Barb and Mark began thinking about raising a family. But would Barb be able to handle all the responsibilities that come with raising a child?
I had a lot of concern. I knew I could take care of them. I mean, I spent most of my teenage years babysitting other people's kids, so I knew I could, but I had never really taken care of a newborn and 24/7. You know, it's rough.
Did that tickle?
There's nothing rough about this amazing young mom. She uses her incredible dexterity to handle the most delicate tasks with tender, loving care.
I can pretty much do anything, just about anything with my feet that you can do with your hands.
And now, with taking care of her family and running a small business from home, Barb is busier than ever. And with all the incredible things that she can do, what's most remarkable is the fact that she's never once thought of giving up.
I would just like to encourage other people that if there's a will, there's a way. You don't have to sit on your duff and feel sorry for yourself. You can get out there and make something of yourself and live a full life just like anyone else.
Look at that happy smile. Look at that happy smile.
Absolutely amazing. You know, something I forgot to say before I introduce our guest, but your host and that voice is the voice of Superman. Dean Cain is now hosting Ripley's Believe It or Not. So that's a wonderful thing that you guys have. Please welcome, let me get her out here. Please welcome Barb to the show. How are you? Good. Have a seat. Have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. Talk to me. So first off, I'm sitting there looking at the clip of you with your baby, and I noticed one thing. Now, how old was that your little boy? How old was he?
My youngest one. He's 19 months
19
old
months.
now.
he almost instinctively knows to put his arms around your neck.
Both of my boys did that.
And did they do that? Did you have to say, Mommy had to say, grab me by the neck?
I
or?
started picking them up like that when they got a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger, you know, where they could hold their heads up, and after a while they both learned.
Just to grab a hold of you to pick you up. This has had, I mean, somebody would say, why not go through and get prosthetics? Why not
Tried
do
that.
it? And?
It was uncomfortable, the prosthetics were heavy, and I had to, you know, learn all over again how to use the hands, and I'm more comfortable using my feet. It's more natural.
What do you want people to think about you?
I just want people to be inspired and know that you can do whatever you set your mind to do, no matter what kind of disabilities you have. I think everyone has limitations. Mine are different than yours, you know, but you can do whatever.
Please welcome Barb's mom, Patricia, to the show. You know, let me do this. I got to take a little break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about the fact that a doctor told you, the words were, try your best to sit on your hands and make her do things. But come on, any mother of a 2.5-year-old, 3-year-old that's just gone through the trauma that this child has gone through. If I'm a parent, I have 4 kids, I would have told that doctor, yeah, you're right. Yeah, right. As soon as I got home, I would have been doing everything I possibly could. How did you stop yourself from doing this? Tell me when we come back from a break, okay? Take a break, we'll be back right after this. So you're sitting in the emergency room, and then they came back and said to you, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to amputate your daughter's arms. What went through your mind?
Well, they told us they were going to have to amputate her arms, and that if she lived, she'd be a vegetable all her life. So I asked God just to take her home if she was going to be a vegetable, but otherwise I'd do whatever it took to make her into somebody special. So not realizing at all what that was. So when we took her home from the hospital, I had a brand new baby. I had a 2-month-old baby myself, and I would sit on, didn't know how to do this, so I got easy foods like chicken, and I'd give her a chicken leg and stick it between her toes and say, you know, you got to learn to eat. And she'd cry and she'd scream and she'd say, I can't do it. And I wanted to feed her, but I knew that I had to make her do this herself, because one of her therapists had said, sit on your hands and make her do it. I always made her try, and as long as she put forth a little bit of effort and she tried, I mean, I was full of praise and would say, you know, way to go, you know, and then I'd help her with the rest of it.
Excellent.
And then the more that she saw accomplishments, the more she'd try and the easier it got. Well, the worst thing that any parent can do if you have a handicapped child is to do for them. Because they'll never learn to do for themselves if you keep doing it for them. And then, you know, they grow up and mom and dad, something happens to mom and dad, and then where's that child now when they can't do anything for themselves?
Mom kept that philosophy for you when you were in school too, didn't she?
All my life.
And you remember some of the things that kids used to try to do to you, right?
Oh yeah.
Kids
are cruel. I had one boy in, I think, 8th grade that used to knock my bag off my shoulder every day, because there was a stampede of children coming down the hall, you know, changing classes, and he knew I couldn't sit down to pick it up with all those kids. I'd watch my bag get kicked all over until there was enough room that I could sit down and pick it up. He did that every day, and he used to come over and, you know, at the cafeteria and say, do you always eat like that? Yeah, you see me every day, you know, and kids are cruel.
This woman can do probably more than all of us together with one toe. One toe. Thank you.